I got the Rams winning the NFC West. They have the best head coach quarterback duo in the division and the only superstar quarterback in the division in Matthew Stafford. Great O-line, great D-line, great skills players, great head coach. So what's the problem with the Vikings? They got a rookie quarterback. The Falcons' problem isn't acquiring talented players. Their problem is figuring out how to utilize their talent consistently. That's the Falcons' problem. And welcome back to Mischief Entertainment, man. As you could tell from the thumbnail, we are predicting the NFC division winners and the NFC playoff picture. I did the AFC, I told y'all I was going to spin the block for the NFC. We got to do both conferences. Again, I am in a hotel room. I'm on the road. I'm doing this on the road, but I had to grind, man. I ain't brought y'all sports videos in a little minute, and this was the perfect opportunity. It was the perfect idea, all of that. I had to put it in motion. I couldn't wait. With that being said, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. Let's get to the predictions. Now, man, we quick out the gate on this one, man. I think I done found my little rhythm in this hotel room. Second video recorded in the hotel room. Let's go crazy, man. We got the NFC East, man. NFC East, I got the Eagles coming number 1. I got the Commanders coming number 2. I got the Cowboys number 3. And I got the Giants 4. Listen. Listen. There hasn't been a repeat division champion in the NFC East since 2004. And I still got the Eagles winning the division. I don't see this division as strong. There's one of the best teams in the entire league, aka the Eagles. Then there's the newly emerging Commanders regime. You know what I'm saying? Jaden Daniels. Your second year, the newly emerging Commanders regime. And then you got the dysfunctional soap opera, the Dallas Cowboys. And then after them, you got the just winging it, no lyrics, just freestyling, no plan, just improving New York Giants. The Commanders are the only team who has a puncher's chance in this division. But even with that being said, I got the Eagles being the first team since 2004 to repeat as the division winners. Now, I feel like there is more I could say about this division, but if you've watched the AFC video, I care about three things. How good is your quarterback? How good is your head coach? And how much talent do you have on your roster? And when you think about those 3 things, right, and you think about this division, the Eagles are the best team in this division. And the Commanders are the second best team in this division. And the Cowboys and Giants, like I explained, the soap opera Cowboys and the just winging it Giants are the worst teams in this division. I don't feel like there's too much else to talk about or say. Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl champion. Coach Sirianni, a Super Bowl champion. Eagles win this division. And now, man, let's get to the NFC West. Woo, I got the Rams number 1. I got the 49ers number 2. I got the Seahawks number 3. And I got the Cardinals number 4. Now, y'all gonna notice I'm very consistent. I'm very consistent on what I'm out there looking for from these teams, or what I pay attention to, all right? I got the Rams winning the NFC West. They have the best head coach quarterback duo in the division and the only superstar quarterback in the division in Matthew Stafford. The 49ers have Brock Purdy, who I think is a decent quarterback, and Kyle Shanahan, who I think is a great head coach. But the Rams have a great quarterback and a great head coach, you know what I'm saying? They have an A and an A, you know what I'm saying? The 49ers have like a B and an A, all right? The Seahawks have a decent quarterback and a rookie head coach. Honestly, I'm putting Sam Darnold at like a C plus, and I'll put their rookie head coach at a C plus too. And the Cardinals have a decent QB and a decent to subpar head coach, if you ask me. So again, that's another C and a C. But the Rams, to reiterate, are the only team in this division with a grade A quarterback and a grade A head coach. I also really like their defense with Jared Verse and those guys. But like I said, I'm very consistent on what I'm looking for out there. I also think the Rams have the most talent on their roster in this division. But Brock Purdy isn't a superstar. Sam Darnold isn't a superstar. Kyler Murray isn't a superstar. Matthew Stafford is. The Rams win the division, okay? That's how that went down to me. I'm very consistent on what I'm looking for from these teams. You know what I'm saying? I'm very consistent. So again, before we finish this up, NFC West, the Rams win. Then we got the 49ers. Then we got the Seahawks. Then we got the Cardinals. Come on, man. It's Kyler Murray. It's Kyler Murray. They had to put some in his contract about studying. It's Kyler Murray, okay? And now it's time for my favorite division in football, the NFC North. The NFC North, man. I'm going to try to be as unbiased as I can possibly be. And I told you on the AFC prediction video that, you know, we will probably get a chance very soon to talk about Micah Parsons and the Micah Parsons trade. And you know what division of football we are on? The NFC North. All right, man, let's get to this. I got the Lions winning the division at 1. I got the Vikings at 2. I got the Packers at 3. And I got the Bears at 4. Listen. Trying to be unbiased as I can be as a Viking fan, so I got the Lions winning this division. I'm going to be honest, it don't just come down to that, me trying to be unbiased, but the Vikings have a rookie quarterback, all right? This team gained everything they needed this postseason. I'm talking about the Lions, the Detroit Lions. This team gained everything they needed this postseason, which was time and rest. Look, they look like the best team in football without the injuries, and with the injuries, they still look like one of the best teams in football. The Detroit Lions. All right. Now I wouldn't say like a back and forth with the Lions fans, but if you saw my reaction videos a year ago, that race to the number 1 seed, that race to being the division champion, it was heating up with the Vikings and Lions, man. I was saying this needed to happen, that needed to happen, and then it all culminated with the final game of the season, them having to play each other, man. That was spectacular. I ain't even gonna lie. I love going through that with y'all. There were some good jokes. There were some good zingers. There were some haters. But it was a fun experience, man. Shout out y'all for going through that with me. You know what I'm saying? It was a great time, man. I got a certain love for the Detroit Lions now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not bandwagoning, you know what I'm saying? But y'all got some good fans over there. So I got a certain love for the Detroit Lions fan. What was I saying? But let me see. Let me check over these notes real quick. My bad about that. My bad. You know, I had to show the Lions fans they love, though. But like I said, they look like the best team in football without the injuries. And then with the injuries, they still look like one of the best teams in football. So that's why I got them winning this division. They got everything they needed this postseason, which was time and rest. I like what the Vikings did in the postseason, which was, in my opinion, they paid attention to trench warfare, okay? The big guys, the guys who be in the trenches, they got some really good players down low now. Shout out Jonathan Allen. When we think about the Eagles, right? And at least when I think about the Eagles, if you're paying attention to the right things, I think you noticed this about the Eagles. When you look at the Eagles, right, and you think about the Eagles last year, what did they do? They dominated the line of scrimmage on both ends, and it led to a Super Bowl win. Think about the Super Bowl game against the Chiefs. Their offensive line dominated the Chiefs' defensive line. And then when they flipped sides, the Eagles' defensive line dominated the Chiefs' offensive line. The trenches were a big part of how the Eagles were able to be who the Eagles were. Even when you think about the regular season and open up the holes you got to open up for Saquon Barkley to run through when he put up the numbers he did. Great O-line, great D-line, great skills players, great head coach. So what's the problem with the Vikings? They got a rookie quarterback. I still think they're too good, right? when you look at this roster from top to bottom, when you talk about football, you talk about the X's and O's, right? And you talk about the players and where they got them and those players' abilities, right? I think they're too good to be fourth or third in this division. And with all that being said, that's why I got them number 2. I don't think the Bears or the Packers have a better team than the Vikings or Lions, so they're 3rd and 4th. But I got the Lions winning this division. Real quick, we should talk about the Packers and Micah Parsons. I halfway like this trade. I don't see it moving the needle for the Packers enough. I think the identity of a team is reflected from the head coach and the quarterback. And for me, the head coach and quarterback of this team are very average. They're very decent. They're very middle of the pack. And when I think about the Micah Parsons and the Packers trade, the first thing I really think about is the what's his name? The Khalil Mack trade to the Bears. It was a team that wasn't in a position to win a Super Bowl trading for a superstar edge rusher. That superstar edge rusher couldn't put them over the top. This isn't like Micah Parsons went to the Ravens or the Lions or the Chiefs or the Eagles, you know what I'm saying? Or one of these teams where we know for at least a certain fact that they have a Super Bowl window open because of their head coach and their quarterback and the talent on the roster. You know what I'm saying? When you have a player like Micah Parsons, for me, as a football fan, as a football influencer, as a football analyst, right? When you have a player like Micah Parsons, right, and you're adding him to a team, I like for him to be the cherry on top, right? He can't be like the main formula for getting for winning a Super Bowl, if you understand what I'm saying. He can't be the main formula. So for the Packers to go from 3rd or 4th in most people's division standings to go to 1st or 2nd, I just don't believe that he could do that. I don't believe the history of edge rushers and trades and the history of the NFL supports that. He's not coming in to the Packers to just be a cherry on top. He's coming in to a certain extent to bring up the entire organization for what they can do this season. He's not just a cherry on top. He's not just, oh yeah, the Packers, they were a shoo-in for the playoffs. That's what most people think, and now they got Micah Parsons. That's not what happened. They were playoff hopefuls, and now they got Micah Parsons, and they're still playoff hopefuls. So I still got them 3rd or 4th in the division. Again, Jordan Love, their head coach, what is his name? French name, I forget his name, but very average, middle of the pack. I don't think it's changing too much. So again, real quick, just to go over this division, because I feel like it got long. I got the NFC North, the Vikings are in there. I got a lot of love for this division. It hits home. I'm in the Midwest, you know. But real quick, the NFC North, I got the Lions number 1. I got the Vikings number 2. The Packers 3, and the Bears 4. If you can't tell from other videos, I made a video about Caleb Williams. Don't worry, we're going to swing the block on Caleb Williams. We're going to see if I'm right or wrong, but I don't think Caleb Williams is that guy. So the Bears are 4. And now we're on the NFC South, man. I feel like some of this stuff was pretty simple. It was pretty plain and simple, man. If you watching the game, if you really got love for the game, I feel like you're able to see what I can see out there, man. So let's get to this NFC South prediction. I got the Bucks at number 1. I got the Falcons at 2, and I got the Panthers at 3 with the Saints at 4. I got the Bucks winning the NFC South because they're the best team in the NFC South, plain and simple. From top to bottom, talent, superstars, X Factor abilities, whatever words you want to use, playmakers, they have them. So as far as the Falcons, I said this last year, the Falcons' problem isn't acquiring talent. Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Jesse Bates, the talented players. But yeah, I said this last year, the Falcons' problem isn't acquiring talented players. The problem is figuring out how to utilize their talent consistently. That's the Falcons' problem. We don't know how good Michael Penix truly will be, but he's surrounded by talent, so I got the Falcons at least 2nd in division, especially looking at the talent inside the rest of the division. I feel like even if Michael Penix isn't that good, they should be able to at least have him be average, especially what we seen from Kirk Cousins last year. Especially with what we seen from Kirk Cousins last year. The way he fell off a cliff, I believe they will be able to keep Michael Penix from falling off a cliff like that. He will be able to at least be a decent quarterback throughout the entire regular season. And with all that being said, that's why I got the Falcons second in the division. The Panthers and the Saints both need a CJ Stroud or Jaden McDaniels type of quarterbacks, because can anyone tell me what's going on with these two organizations? Do you know what's going on? I haven't known for several years, several very long years, what the Saints and Panthers are doing. It's like they compete to be at the bottom of the division every year. They both need a savior in one form or another, so I respectfully got them at the bottom of the division. But I got the Bucs winning the NFC South, man. And we can just go over it real quick again. NFC South, I got the Bucs number one. They're the most talented team in the division. Best quarterback in the division, Baker Mayfield. He's a top 10 quarterback. I got the Falcons number two, the second most talented team in the division. Problem is, they don't know how to consistently use their talented players. Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Jesse Bates as such name. But I got the Falcons number two, the Panthers I got number three, and the Saints I got number four. Man, with all that being said, now that you know my division predictions, we might as well get to the whole playoff picture. My NFC playoff prediction right now, man. I got the Eagles coming in as number one. I think the Eagles are the most talented team in the NFL. Top to bottom, the way they can run, the way they run RPOs, how their defense can play tough, how their defense can play fast. I think the Eagles are the best team in the NFL. Number two, I got the Lions. I told y'all, all they needed was time and rest, and I think the Lions will be right back outside of having as many injuries as they did last year. Outside of that happening, I think the Lions will finish top three in the NFC. So I got them number two in my prediction at least. Number three, I got the Rams. Again, Matthew Stafford, he's like that. He's like that. And Bucks, I got the Bucks number four as far as, 1 through 4 as the division winners. I don't think the Bucks have enough consistency in their building from the leaders to be better than the other three teams. I also don't think they're more talented than the Eagles or the Lions. So that's what it comes down to. The Bucks obviously have a fighter's chance in the playoffs because of Baker Mayfield, and I feel like it really comes down to how Baker Mayfield could play. And Baker Mayfield is an underdog story. I really root for Baker Mayfield, but with all that being said, I still got to go by the X's and O's, so that's why the Bucks are fourth. You get what I'm saying? And as far as the wild card teams, the three teams to sneak into the playoffs for the NFC, I got the Vikings, I got the Commanders, and I got the Packers. Yep, those are the three teams I got making it. I got three teams from the NFC North making the playoffs next year. It could not happen. This is a prediction. I am going off of X and O's. I'm going off of my sports analyst opinion of the league and all of that. But in my opinion, when it comes to the NFC North is the best division in the NFC. I wouldn't be surprised if three teams made it. I wouldn't be surprised if three teams slipped in. Now, really quick, let me tell y'all about some of the other teams we have in the NFC, right? The Saints, the Panthers, right? The Bears, the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Giants, and the Cowboys. Each one of those things have something very, very huge standing in their way of success. And I could break it down for you. And I would give some of those teams a puncher's shot. But when it came down to, for me, was, right, over the course of a regular season, who do I think could keep it together the most? Again, because this is regular season predictions. This is throughout 18 weeks, 17 games, right? 17 games, but throughout 18 weeks. It's a long, grueling season. Injuries, trades, firings, a myriad of things that could go on throughout the season. And the Cowboys, I feel like they'll be just as dysfunctional as ever. Maybe they have a puncher's chance of making the playoffs, but I don't see them getting in. The Giants, Russell Wilson, I really do like you. But if I think Aaron Rodgers is past his prime, then I got to be consistent and say I also think you're past your prime. And that is the truth. I think you're very much past your prime. Talk about teams like the Seahawks with Sam Darnold. With seeing go, scared to let go of the football, Sam Darnold. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Mike McDonald, right? That's the Seahawks head coach. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is a defensive coach. He's a defensive-minded coach, and now Sam Darnold's going to that. The Cardinals, Kyler Murray, when they had to put in his contract that you got to study. And then the Bears. The Bears every year through multiple quarterbacks, through multiple phases. Like I feel like a lot of people are trying to step away and hide in the shadows, but a lot of people thought the Bears would be good last year. And they weren't. They weren't. Every year I go through this thing where I have to hear about how good the Bears are going to be, and then the regular season starts and they're just not that good. And the Panthers and Saints are the most consistent bad teams in the NFL that I've ever seen. The Panthers and Saints. Over recent memory, they are the most consistent bad teams that I've seen. So with that being said, that's why I have the Vikings, Commanders, and Packers as the wild card teams to make it in the NFC. All teams that are very hot, teams that are very talented. And should be much more talented than the bottom half of the NFC. See, in my opinion, as the AFC is really deep, it's a lot of quarterbacks. Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. It's a myriad of very good and decent quarterbacks in the AFC. So it's very deep. I feel like the NFC is top heavy. The NFC is top heavy. You have the good teams, and then you have the teams that are just completely bad. That's how I feel about the NFC. So again, let me just go over this one more time before we head up out of here. The NFC playoffs, these are your division winners. I got the Eagles number 1, they get the bye. The Lions 2, the Rams 3, the Bucks 4. And then you got your sneak teams. We got the Vikings sneaking in, the Commanders, and the Packers, man. Those are the best teams in the NFC if you ask me. And if I'm going to predict how the NFC is going to go, these are the teams that are going to make the playoffs. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. As usual, comment section always open. We can debate. But one thing I feel like you're not going to be able to debate with is I picked the best team in each conference to make the playoffs. That's what it came down to for me. It didn't come down to who I hope or guesses or favoritism. How good is your team? How good is your quarterback? How good is your head coach? How much talent do you have? And that's how I made these lists, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We out.